Hey guys, today for your assignment, you're going to be taking everything you learned yesterday and you're going to be designing your own experiment. This is not intended to be something really elaborate. The other day, someone asked, is this like a mini science fair? It's not like a science fair. I don't expect you to do that much, but I do want you to ask an interesting question and take the time to gather data to answer that question. So let's go over the directions. Today, you're going to be doing part one. So you're going to be figuring out what your question is. You're going to be identifying the variables in your experiment, writing a hypothesis, and writing your procedures. So you don't need to do your experiment yet. Okay, so the directions say create your own experiment, be creative, and make sure to include all information required. All experiments must be something you can actually do at home because you're actually doing these at home. This can be very simple using objects you have around your house. Below are some examples to get you thinking. You do not have to use one of these examples. So these are just ideas if you're stuck and you don't know what to do. So some ideas I thought of was making different types of paper airplanes and measuring how far they fly, kicking a soccer ball with different types of shoes and measuring how far it travels, or mixing sugar in water of different temperatures and measuring how fast it dissolves. Okay. Alternatively, you can, if you can't think of anything to do with things in your house, you can go to fet.colorado.edu by clicking on this link and use one of the simulations. Just be careful if you choose to do this because some of the simulations are really complicated. I don't want you to spend like 2 hours just trying to figure out how to use it. Some of them are more simple, and so only do this if you don't have things around your house to use. All right, once you have kind of decided what you want to do, you need to write your experimental question. So this is just the question you're trying to answer. And I want you to write in the format, how does blank affect blank? For example, if I was using this experiment up here with paper airplanes, okay, I would say, how does different types of paper airplanes measure how far they fly? Or maybe I just want to do the same paper airplane with different wing lengths or wing sizes. Then my question might be, how does the size of a paper airplane wing affect how far they fly? Okay. Once you have done that, then you're going to determine your independent and dependent variable. If you have written this question in the experimental question correctly, how does blank affect blank? The first blank should be your independent variable. That is what you're changing on purpose. And the second blank is your dependent variable. That is what's changing because you changed the independent variable. Also, the dependent variable is what you are measuring. So if you're measuring how far they fly or how fast something happens, that is your dependent variable. Next, based on what you learned yesterday about writing good hypotheses and everything you know about the subject you're working on, so just things you've observed in the real world, maybe you know some science behind it, you don't necessarily have to, you're going to write a hypothesis. Okay, so you're going to try to predict what you know, what the outcome of the experiment will be. Once you finish writing your hypotheses, then you'll write your procedures. Okay, for your procedures, you're explaining how you are going to gather your data. The more specific you can be, the better. When a scientist writes a procedure, they write it so that people could take their experiment and duplicate it, do it again to make sure the results are accurate. So I want you to think about it that way. If someone else tried to do exactly what you did, would they be able to follow your procedures? If the answer is yes, then you did a great job and add a lot of detail. If the answer is no, then go back and find where you can add some more detail in there. That is all you're working on for today. Next time you'll be collecting your data, making a graph, and writing your conclusion. One other thing I want to point out is that this note right here, type all of your answers in the boxes provided. So you can see for each of these things, I have like a box. This is where I want you to type your answer. Or here, these boxes right here. These are where I want you to type your answer so that I can easily find them. All right, that's it. Let me know if you have any questions.